and welcome to our Play Attention special webinar today. Today we're going to be talking about Play Attention's iLab program. This is a program that's going to allow you to use Play Attention to reach out to your clients remotely. This is a great tool we've had for a long time, but it's really become very important as we are spending more and more time at home right now. It gives us the opportunity to still meet with our clients and to have that continuity. So we're going to talk a lot about how that works today and all the great features that are included in the iLab. So thank you all for joining me today. I know your time is very valuable and it's Friday afternoon, so I do appreciate it. Just a few things before we get started. We are recording this webinar, so we will be sending out the recording after the webinar is over today, so you can share that with your colleagues if you would like. Additionally, there is a chat box down below. If you have any questions at all during the webinar today, don't hesitate to ask those questions. I may not get to them till the end, but I will address those questions. I might see if we can make this a little interactive today, and there is a hand down below that if I ask you a question, you can raise your hand and just have a little bit more interaction today. So just so you know, if you do have a question, go ahead and type it in that chat box because I can't do those hand raisings eventually will go down, and so that way I can get to your question. Also, if at any time you get disconnected from this webinar today, all you need to do is reconnect on that link you used. We tried to go live Facebook today, but it just wasn't cooperating. So just a Zoom webinar today. So my name is Amber and I will be your host today. Just a little background about myself. I've spent the last 15 years in secondary and post-secondary education and really helping students meet their potential. Play Attention has been a huge piece of that, and really the iLab program really helps with some of those geographical issues that you might have, and now with needing to have a little bit more availability virtually. So let's go ahead and get started today. So we are going to be following an agenda today. We're going to talk about what is iLab. So we have two different groups of individuals here with us today. We have some current clients that are already using Play Attention, and we have some professionals here that are not using Play Attention yet. And we're going to talk a little bit about how iLab can be used with either one. If you are new to Play Attention, we're going to be offering you a chance to meet with one of our consultants to just get more information specifically about your business and how Play Attention can help, as well as the iLab program. So just know if you're new to Play Attention and you saw this and it would be a great webinar, still going to be a lot of great information for you. You just might need some additional at the end. So we're going to talk about what iLab is, how it works, how it benefits both you and your clientele, and then most important for some of us, our return on investment. So we'll talk a little bit about pricing. And if you stay tuned today, there is a special offer that is at the end of the webinar today. So the first thing, what is iLab? So iLab works in conjunction with our Play Attention program, and Play Attention, for those of you who are new to us, is a program that helps us build executive function, increase attention, help with self-regulation. So it does a lot of great things through programming to really help individuals reach that higher potential. And so if you work with students, if you work with adults, whether you're a counselor or a teacher, a tutor, a therapist, a psychologist, there are so many different opportunities for professionals to integrate Play Attention into their program and with their clientele. And so with Play Attention program, you also can have the iLab program. So traditionally, our Play Attention program is a one-to-one. And so those of you that are Play Attention users right now, just bear with me a little bit. I know this is very familiar to you, but I want to update the individuals that are new to us. So traditionally, Play Attention is created to be a one-to-one and a face-to-face where you're in the same environment. However, we have an iLab module that can be added on to your Play Attention program, and it allows you to do two things. Number one, it allows you to do remote training, and that is so important right now. We are in an environment where we're trying to do as much virtual and remote work as possible. Many of us are now working from home. Many of us now have children that are going to school from home. And this gives you the opportunity with the iLab to still see your clients but to have that remote availability. So that's one of the things that iLab allows you, is that remote training. Additionally, iLab also offers you group training. Now, obviously right now that is not something that we're utilizing because we are practicing that social distancing. However, once this is over and we're back into our day-to-day normal activity, you can use that same iLab program now to see multiple clients at one time. Therefore, in that 1 hour of time, maybe you can see 2, 3, 4 clients as opposed to one. So with that iLab program, you get both of these options. You get the remote training as well as the group training. So that's number one. That is what iLab is. So how does it work? What do we need? So we need that Play Attention Professional System. So that Play Attention Professional System is that one-to-one programming where you're going to have that body wave armband, which is that feedback technology that works in conjunction with the cognitive training exercises used to help build that executive function, as well as that behavioral shaping program. So with our professional system, you have that one-to-one system where you can enroll as many students as you want, but it's only one student at a time that you can work with. So you need that first to get started. So there are several of you here that are professionals that already have that in place. You also need the iLab coaching software. So we're going to talk about all the fabulous features that the iLab coaching software has. And then for every student you're going to meet remotely with, or eventually in that group setting, you need to have a student station for them. That gives you additional licensing and additional body wave armbands. So we'll break that down a little bit more for you at the end. So the features that are included in our iLab are a lot of great different features. Number one, you're going to get real-time data, which means even though you're remote, you're going to be able to see your clients in real time. And so we're going to break all of these down. So I'll just list them for you, and then we're going to talk a little bit about each of them. You're going to get our iLab Intelligence. You're going to be able to view games in real time. You're going to be able to do distance learning. You're going to be able to have access to your full curriculum control, meaning you are able to set all of the training, all of the curriculum. You're going to have the ability to text chat, voice chat, and video conference. So there's a lot of fabulous features that iLab provide, essentially the same features as if you were next to each other. You wouldn't obviously need that text chat or that voice chat or that video conferencing because you'd be right next to the individual. So iLab allows you to essentially feel like you're next to that person, helping them with their training. So when we talk about each of the different features, we are going to go through each of those features here individually. I'm going to show you some screenshots and give you more information on there. So iLab Viewer. So as an iLab coach, having the software, you can have numerous individuals on there in your iLabs. So you can do, when you're doing remote training, you're going to have one student in your viewer. But if you're doing group training, you're going to be able to have access to all of the students in the room. And there's a lot of ways that sometimes seems, oh my gosh, like I have a lot of people I'm trying to manage, and how do I not miss one? I'm going to show you the different tools that we have built in that really help you engage with all of those individuals in the room, so you do still feel like you have that one-on-one, even though you're working with multiple individuals. But remotely, you're going to have the exact same kind of access. You're going to have the exact same opportunity. You have live streaming video, so you can see them in real time. You can see their games in real time. You're going to have, you need, of course, internet access for this, and your user, your remote user needs internet access, so you guys can have that real-time live streaming video. So essentially, like I'm live streaming to you right now through Zoom, we're offering that, but we're offering that in the Play Attention platform where all of your tools are there, all of your tools are available. You're also going to get real-time streaming. So this means you're going to be able to see your students' data in real time. So, and when I say student, it's an adult, it's a child, doesn't matter your client that you're working with. You're going to be able to see all of their information in real time. So if we're doing remotely, you can watch them, you can have that live streaming, but you can also see how their data is doing, because you're going to be seeing that camera like I'm using my camera now and you're seeing me, so you're not going to necessarily be able to see exactly what's on their screen. So because of that, you're going to get real-time streaming information of how they're doing, what their attention percentage is like, how far they're into the game, all of that information that you would see when you're right next to them. Now you're going to have access through it as one of the iLab features. Now, as a group training, obviously, like I said before, that's not something we're doing right now, but as we progress and we eventually go back to face, this would give you the opportunity of every single individual in that group training, you would have access to their real-time data right now. So you would be sitting at one part of the room and your other students would be in the rest of the room, and you could see all of their data real time as if you were right beside them. You're also going to be able to see if there's any changes, any fluctuations. So here's showing the actual graph of this individual. So it's showing right now they're at 86% of attention, and you can see how they started out at 0 and they started moving up. You can see the time that they've done. This is that specific student. So if I go back to that last slide, basically what I would do is I would click on that student and I would be able to get their data in real time. So I'm going to be able to, again, see their attention, see how long they've been playing, see it in a graph mode. And that way, if maybe there's some reason that I glance up and I notice that they're maybe fidgeting or something like that is happening, I can check it on their data. I can see how they're doing going forward. Now, this is obviously beneficial if I'm remote because I'm not going to be able to see all of that maybe, and I want to be able to see all of that data just as if I was right beside them. But it's also very important as we do it in a group environment as well. You're also going to have the ability to get an iLab alert. So this is if it's helpful for remote training, but it's also helpful if we're in group training. And basically what that means is you see here on the screen kind of like a big chat box with lots of information in there. So if your student all of a sudden has 0% attention, it's going to flag you because it's important to know that because maybe they took their body wave armband off, maybe they're having an issue with something. You can see if all of a sudden they're at 100% attention, again, maybe something's off, you need to take a look at it. If they've disconnected, you're going to get a flag. So basically it's going to alert you if there's any sudden changes in that information because you're working with maybe a group of people or remotely. That will give you that information, and all you have to do is click on that flag and it's going to tell you why they're flagged and what you need to pay attention to. And those alerts are going to run for you as you go through. So students flagged. So again, if there's something that is a little strange in the iLab as it's going in their training, they are going to get, that student's going to get flagged. And so that gives you the opportunity to take a look. Oh, why are they flagged? Is there something I need to look at? Obviously, if you're in a group environment and you're right there in their vicinity, you can walk over there, you can take a look. Maybe you have an assistant working with you, they can walk over there and take a look. But if you're remote, you have that opportunity to either make note of that or you can contact them actually while they're training. You're going to have that opportunity. You also still have the ability for the behavioral shaping input. Because we have live video streaming capability, you can watch them while they're doing their training. So for those of you who are new, Play Attention has a 3-part integrated system that we use for our training. We have our feedback technology, which is picking up that attention signature indicative to, or their brainwave indicative to their attention. So that attention signature, it's listening for that, it's looking for that, and it is going to feed that attention signature to the computer, and that's how they're going to trigger those different exercises that are in there. But in addition to that body wave armband, in addition to that those cognitive training exercises they're going to be doing, we also have a behavioral shaping program, and this is if they have any self-distracting behaviors that are preventing them from paying attention. We know there's a one-to-one correlation of when they are having that behavior, when they're doing those fidgets or calling out or humming, we know there's a one-to-one correlation that they're not able to fully focus and pay attention. And so we're able to track those behaviors while we watch them. So in a traditional environment with a one-to-one, you're going to be next to your student that's training. And again, student can be an adult or a child. And every time you see a behavior, you're going to have a sheet that you can mark on. And basically you're collecting data to give to the system. So every time you see them fidget, you're going to make a mark. Every time you see them start to hum, you're going to make a mark. And basically at the end of that game, Sheer Genius, the artificial intelligence built into the software, is going to pop up and it's going to say, were there any self-distracting behaviors? And then you can enter that. And then what is going to happen is Play Attention is going to start to set goals around those, because we're starting to help them understand that one-to-one correlation of when they do that behavior, all of a sudden they're getting that immediate feedback that they're no longer focused, they're no longer paying attention. And that's really going to help them build that self-regulation. Well, even if we're not right next to them, even if we're virtually training them, if you're working with a student that is struggling with those behaviors, you can still track them and you can still enter the information. You can still have that behavioral shaping component that is so important in that process. So it gives you that ability to essentially be right there with them through that video access, and you can still track that information and you can still input that data. And then by inputting that data on editing their behavior, then again, Sheer Genius is going to continue to set those goals for them. And remember, for those of you who do use that behavioral shaping program, the way that goal will look is it's going to take that most prevalent behavior and it's going to set a goal around it. So maybe they have a tendency to fidget quite a bit. So it's going to say, okay, last time you fidgeted 10 times, today let's try for 9, right? So we're setting those goals around it, we're bringing awareness, and we're goal setting to really help them build that self-regulation. So just because you're virtual does not mean that you have to let go of this component of the system. Now the communication. So you have a lot of different opportunities to communicate with the individual you're working with, especially when we're working remotely. So just as you would have the opportunity right next to them to have that conversation, you have a lot of different formats to actually talk with them while you're remote. So you have the opportunity to call them. So you can call them and you can have an audio chat. They can call you. You can also have the ability to chat like in a text, like a chat room or a text message. So maybe you don't want to have a call, maybe you don't have a video chat, but you have the opportunity to chat with them. But again, you have that, and all of those little icons are down on the bottom. So whichever one you want to choose, you have the opportunity to choose it. And you see here the little box that popped up, that's that student. You can call, you can have a voice conversation, you can have that video chat as well. So now let's say they want to contact you. So they have the same opportunity on their end to contact you. They can call you, they can initiate a call, initiate a video chat, initiate a text. And so you see down here below where one of the individuals is calling in. Now they have the opportunity to do this in a group training as well. And so I'm going to show you in a minute how you can block that, because sometimes we want them fully focused and paying attention. We always want them fully focused and paying attention on their training. But sometimes if we're dealing with somebody that's very impulsive and they're in the early stages of their training, they might want to talk to you all the time, even when they're supposed to be training. So you have the opportunity to reject their call, but you also have the opportunity to block them. And I'm going to show you that here in a minute, because obviously those conversations we want to have when they're not training. So we're going to initiate a conversation when they get started, talk through what they're going to be doing today, let them do their training. We can again initiate conversation in between their training modules, but we really want to make sure that they're not actively trying to communicate with you when they're trying to do their sessions as well, because we want them fully focused and paying attention on those different exercises that they're working on. So video capability, again, now you have the opportunity to have that face-to-face, real-time virtual conversation. So ways a lot of teachers and workers are trying to communicate now through different mediums. You can still do this as well with Play Attention. So not only do you have that training program ready for them, now you have components to do it virtually and work with them that way. Here is an example down below. So you see where you can pin a certain student. So if you're working with a bunch of them, but you know you need to pin one to really keep an eye on it, you can do that. You've got the graphs, you've got chatting back and forth, but then you also have the opportunity, that circle with like kind of an X, like a no. that blocks them. And that gives you the ability to turn off their ability to reach out to you during certain times. Because again, sometimes, and we've all worked with them, whether it's a child or an adult, where they want that, they need that constant engagement. And if they have that constant distraction, they'll continue to use it and they won't get to their training, because we still want them to fit in that time frame. This isn't going to obviously be open-ended for us. We're going to set them in a period of time, whether it's a 30-minute block, whatever that looks like, their normal training. So we don't want them to get sidetracked with all of these different forms of communication. These communications are used to be effective and to help you navigate remotely, but we don't want them to become a distraction. So you do have that ability to kind of quiet that individual while they do that training, and then you can put them, unblock them when you're ready to have that communication with them. So those are really, you know, the different pieces that we have here at Play Attention in our iLab program. So it essentially gives you that opportunity in a remote environment to be like you are right there with them. It has all of the pieces to really help you with that virtual training that we're all looking for now. Because a lot of us are kind of in that boat where we're so used to our clients coming to us. Now, some of us are still open because we're essential, but we still have clients that don't want to come out. Maybe they're more vulnerable. And so we really want to make sure we give them the opportunity to be able to continue their training, but safely and responsibly. So now we're going to talk a little bit about your return on investment. So I'm going to give you some pricing, and remember there's a special offer at the end. So wait till the end if this is something you're interested in moving forward with, or just learning more about what that offer is. And then we're going to talk about what that, so not only am I going to give you numbers of cost, now I'm going to also then break it down on pricing and what that looks like and what kind of opportunities that give you for revenue streams, so you can continue operating either at the level you were at before, or maybe even more, because now you're able to integrate more individuals into your day. So when we talk about our return on investment, because we know it's such a hard time right now for our professionals, as a professional right now, so for the individuals that are here today that are already professionals, users of Play Attention, they have that professional system, so they have the software licensing, they have the Bodywave armband. For you to get started with iLab, all you need to purchase is the iLab license key, with coaching software. And the cost on that is $399. So the way that would work is you would lease out your Bodywave armband. So remember, they need that Bodywave armband to actually do the training. And so for those of you that want to just test out the waters and just see how this can work for you and you're not quite sure where to go, we understand that. And that's why this option is here and it's available for you. So you can lease out that Bodywave armband, and this gives you the opportunity to work with at least one family, okay? So this gives you the ability to work with one family and then have that potential to maybe grow it a little bit more. So you'll purchase that software, you'll get all of those features I talked about, and then you will lease out your Bodywave armband, and then your client is going to get a remote key. So they'll have an individual license key, so they don't have any access to any of your other data. And now you can start doing that one-to-one training with them. So you can do live training with them, where you're meeting with them 2 or 3 times a week live. You can do once a week, where they do training 2 or 3 times on their own, and then you meet once a week. You can have them do training, every day or whatever days they're going to train on their own, and then you meet another time. So there's a lot of availability in that, and that is a great way to help you get started. So I had a question here: does a client need to have a camera on their computer? Yes, if you want to do video chatting with them. If you want to do video chatting with them, then they need to have a camera. And so that's going to help you. You're going to be able to see their data and things like that, because you're going to have that linked license key to them. That's a great question, Debbie. So they don't necessarily need to have a camera on their computer, but if you want to have that opportunity for the video chat, then yes, you need to, and that live streaming, they need to have that camera on there. If you're not necessarily tracking those behaviors, they don't necessarily need a camera on there. You're going to still get the live feed of their data coming across. You're going to still have the opportunity to call. You're still going to have that opportunity to text with them. Great question, Debbie. Thank you for sharing that. Now, for those of you who are new to Play Attention and you have not gotten started with us yet, we're going to give you the opportunity at the end to do a consultation to learn a little bit more about Play Attention and to how it would fit specifically into your business. But you do have to have that professional system or that first student station. And the cost on that is $2,495. And what that provides to you is it provides you the software, provides you that Bodywave armband, and it gives you unlimited user licenses. However, as I mentioned before, it's one-to-one training. So you can enroll as many individuals as you want, but just that professional system by itself would be one-to-one, so you can only train one individual at a time. Now, if you wanted to get started, and let's say you wanted to have 2 individuals working with you remotely, you would need that first professional system at $2,495. You would need the coaching software, so you would be able to do that virtual. And the coaching software is a one-time fee. Once you purchase that software, you own it, and you can add as many student stations as you want into that. So then each student station, so if you're leasing out your one Bodywave armband and you're doing the $399, you have 1 individual. Now, if you want to add a second individual to do that additional training, each additional student station you add is discounted, and it's at $1,995. And so you can start at $399 if you already have that professional system with the 1 virtual user. That's going to generate some revenue for you, and then you have the opportunity to expand then for just under $2,000, you can add a second person. And so there's flexibility in that as well. So with those additional student stations, you can either purchase it and lease it to your client, or you can have your client purchase it for the $1,995 under your account. They would then keep the equipment, but you wouldn't have to worry about getting it back. Now, here's one benefit to actually leasing it as opposed to them buying it, is when they lease it and they give it back to you, you can reuse that, okay? Just like if you were using these student stations in a group, let's say you had 3 student stations and group training, you could have 4 different sessions a day of those 3 students. So now all of a sudden, instead of seeing 3 people every day, now if you're doing 4 sessions, you're seeing 12 individuals. And that, of course, is going to increase your revenue. So just something to think about when you're having those additional student stations, those can be reused after the individual is done with that. And so if you're going to want to do this and want to continue to grow this iLab program, then leasing it to them might be something that you want to look at as opposed to having them purchase it. But both ways can be done, and we have professionals do it both ways, and they're effective either way they do it. So now let's talk about, we've talked about numbers, now let's look at them as we're bringing revenue in. So an example, if we had an iLab with 4 student stations, we would have, remember we have that pro system first, and then we have those other student stations. So we would have 5 computers. We'd have 1 iLab license for $399. You start with your professional student station. So that's one of our 4 systems we're talking about. That's the $2,495. And then each student station is the $1,995. So that is a total investment of $8,879. Now that doesn't mean you have to start at that level. You can, again, if you already have that pro system, you can start at $399 with 1 client. And then as you add on, you can add on those as you feel comfortable moving forward with them. But what does that look like revenue-wise? So if I'm talking about the same 4 clients, now this is, of course, if I'm bringing them in a group environment. That's going to look a little different right now because we are more in that virtual. However, in a group environment, if we were doing 4 students a session and doing 5 sessions a day, then like I mentioned earlier, all of a sudden we're meeting 20 students. We're charging 20 students at $50 a session, all of a sudden we're making $1,000 a day. If I'm charging $35, because really we see from our professionals anywhere between $35 and $50 per session is what we see as individuals charging for a fee for the service. So that is going to be, of course, a little less because you're charging a little less, but $700. But with each group of students, you're doing twice, right? We're increasing it, we're doing it more, and we're increasing that money. So if we were doing just 20, and then if we increase it, so it's going to compound on each other. Now, of course, this is if you're meeting in a group session. Now, obviously, it's going to be a little while before we do that. However, you still have the opportunity to start with one, start generating some income, add a second one on there, start generating some income. And instead of sitting there and thinking, oh my gosh, I can't see my clients right now because we're all trying to be responsible, now all of a sudden you're giving your clients this opportunity. You know, so many doctors have gone now for regular visits to that telemedicine. So this gives you that opportunity that is that virtual setting for you to continue to do the training. So our special offer today for webinar attendees is if you get started today, that you will save 50% on that master license. Okay, so the iLab license software. So normally it's $399. We're offering it to you at $199. So if you do have that pro system and you want to get started, for $199, you can start doing virtual training with one student. Now, of course, if you haven't started with Play Attention, then you would still need to purchase that pro system first, but then you could also have access to that software at $199. Now, we know this is a decision that's going to take a little bit of time, maybe for some of you to think over. So we're offering this through next week, through April 8th next week, for you to kind of have an idea if this is something you want to add on. But it's definitely giving you that opportunity for you to start to see your clients virtually. We know, again, it's a really hard time for everyone, and we're trying to provide as many opportunities as possible for you to continue to do your training. Now, for those of you individuals that are new to Play Attention, you haven't started with us yet, if you type in the word consult, we will get back with you and schedule a time to go through a free consultation. We offer free consultations to both our home clients and our professional clients. Takes about an hour. We'll do it through Zoom conferencing so we can share information with you, videos with you, but it will help you really understand how you can use Play Attention with your current clients, and really how it can integrate very well into your clinic or your practice or your business, whether that's, private tutoring, whatever the case might be. And so if you're new to Play Attention and you're interested in that consultation, if you just type in consult in the chat box, one of our associates will get back with you and pick a time that works best for you. We're very accommodating for schedules, and we're more than happy to talk a little bit more about Play Attention. For some of you that are on here today and you've been looking for an opportunity to start moving virtually, and you already have the professional system and you're ready for the iLab, you want to take advantage of that $199 special, that 50% off special, if you type in iLab in your phone number, we will reach out to you and help you get started moving forward. So again, if you're interested in learning more, you type in consult. If you're interested in getting started on iLab and you're ready to take advantage of that special, you can type an iLab and your phone number. So those are your opportunities we have, kind of next steps for you going forward. And now, you can always call our 1-800 number if you want to talk through this, if you want to have any additional questions or you want to talk about anything. Now, all of our staff is working virtually right now, so you might get a message or you might have to wait for a call back. So if you have any questions that I didn't answer today that you maybe just want to talk through, if you type your phone number in and even a time, we'd be more than happy to reach out to you, to chat with you about iLab, to give you a little bit more information. You can always visit our website as well, www.playattention.com. That provides you a lot of great information as well. We just recently updated our site, and so if you haven't been there in a while, there's a lot of great information on there that gives some testimonials and our different games that we provide, and a lot of great information. So I'm going to go through the chat box. If you have any questions that I didn't address, that you have just thought of, that maybe you were thinking of as I was talking, and you want to go ahead and type them in, I'm going to scroll through and see if there are any questions that I missed. I know Debbie had that question, and then I am going to, and then we'll start to wrap up for the day. So let me look through here. And remember, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. Okay. It looks like Debbie was the only one that had a question about the camera. So, here's all of the information. it looks like a couple of you are interested in moving forward, so that is great. Again, if you want a consultation, we'd be more than happy to do that, and we will be sending out this recording shortly here in a few, probably about an hour or so, so look for that webinar recording in your email. I appreciate all of your time today. Oh, let's see. Okay, Debbie's question is, if I buy the $24.95 for the first student station and $19.95 for the second, can I teach each one separately? Do you mean, can you use them with two different people? Is that what you mean, Debbie? Just type, oh, yes. So if you have that second student station, that can go to a whole nother client, okay? So that, yes. And then you can lease those out to those clients. And when you're done with that training, when they've graduated, you can collect those back in and then reuse those again with two different clients. So yes, if you purchase one and then you purchase that second student station at $19.95, yes, you can use them separately. And you can always eventually use them back in a group setting where you could train two individuals at one time. Let me know, Debbie, if you need us to give you a call back to kind of talk through anything else. We'd be very happy to do that. Any other questions? One last call for questions, and then we will go ahead and wrap up today. So again, thank you so much for attending. We appreciate your time. We understand that this is, can be a really difficult time for us right now, but there are a lot of opportunities to continue to help people. And that's what we want to provide you with. We want to provide you with that opportunity to continue to help, to continue to do what you do best, because it's right now that we need that. So thank you so much. Oh, okay, let's see. I had a couple of questions come in right as I was wrapping up. Judith, we will give you a call back. Debbie, we will reach out to you. And then looks like I have one here. How big is the risk of mishandling the armband by remote students? So that's a great question. So what we recommend that you do is when you lease out that software, that you put in the full price of the system, meaning if they damage it, they are responsible for the full amount of that. Now, that doesn't mean that we always have that damage. Our Bodywave armbands are pretty durable. They're used to working with professionals that have a lot of different students in centers. So it is, that Bodywave armband is in a protected sleeve, but we would recommend that when you do that lease, that you put the price of that Bodywave armband. And also the biggest thing that we see more than the Bodywave armband issues with that is there's a USB dongle that goes with that, and that's how they talk to each other. Now, a USB dongle can be replaced for $26, but we also encourage that you put that in there as well to really ensure that you're able to get that back and that you have that protection for that. Okay, let's see here. Connie, just to be sure. So Connie, Connie, are you asking for this to work, you would need to give the armband to the family? Is that what your question was? I'll just wait and see if you're answered back. I wasn't quite sure what your question was, Connie. Okay, perfect. Good. I'm not quite sure what you mean by swathing on and off. I'm not quite sure what that is. And so if you want me to, switching. It's very simple to use the Bodywave armband. There is an on button and an off button. When you start to use the device, you Velcro it onto either your arm or your leg, you turn it on, they pair and talk to each other. This system is very simple to use. We can help you. Of course, we're going to provide you training as a provider to help make sure your clients are comfortable using it. So you're going to get that support from us as well to ensure that you're fully comfortable using it. You know how to help your clients with it. We're always more than willing to provide either of you tech support if you need that assistance. But we have a lot of professionals now that use the iLab, and they've been using the iLab program for years, and they love it and they swear by it, and they do not have any really issues moving forward. Obviously, the family you're working with, they need to make sure that their computer's compatible with our software. I can send out, if any of you are interested in what our specs are, our requirements, because we have a Apple Mac license as well as a Windows license, so we're compatible with both. And then there's a few things like Windows needs to be at least Windows 8 or 10. There needs to be a certain platform for our Apple specific, hard drive space and things like that. But I can provide that if you're interested in computer requirements. Most of you, if you're a professional, you're already having those on your computer because that's how you're using Play Attention. But definitely something that you'll want to make sure that any client you're going to work with, that they have the capability on the computer they have now to run Play Attention. So if any of you are interested in computer specs, we can get those to you. Just type in computer specs. That way it gives you the full information. As you're working with a client, you can find out what their computer is like. Remember, it can be done on a laptop or a desktop, but we can provide that going forward. Let's see, I think I got all those questions. So I'm glad I gave you guys a few extra minutes to go ahead and ask those questions. Again, you can always reach out to us on at our 1-800 number. We'd be more than happy. Like I said, we are working virtually, but we do have an answering service and we have a voicemail and we check that all the time. So we're here to continue to help you guys move forward as well in your business. So thank you so much for attending today. Like I said, watch for that recording. It will be coming. And then that special offer of half price off that license, the iLab user or coach's license, is available through next week. So thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend and thank you for your time today. Bye-bye.